Hey guys, what's up? It's Portobello. Welcome you back to another Pokemon TCG Pocket video. I've been a little bit long overdue for like a proper discussion video, or at least going over some of the other events and things that have been going on, but rest assured, still been posting shorts and things like that. Also, there has been a gap in the current video upload schedule, and that's because I recently did an event on my Twitch channel that took up a majority of my time, but I'm going to try and get back on the saddle and have some more videos out for you soon, and that's why I'm getting this one out right now. So, as of right now, in Pokemon TCG Pocket, there is a current summer event that is going on that I do want to share with y'all. I did feel like it was good to go ahead and go over it now because there's a lot that I want to talk about in this video. So, just for example, if you go to your missions, it should be taking me straight there because I have not claimed it yet. There are a lot, and I mean a lot of good resources for you to get here. You'll see I already got stuff for trading. But the thing that you're really going to want, and I feel like everybody's actually been looking forward to this, is a brand new backdrop. But this isn't just any backdrop, this is a 9 pocket backdrop. Now I believe the only way you could get a kind of backdrop like this before was if you were spending the, I believe it's like a premium tickets. Let me go ahead and check that. The special tickets. So you'll have these special accessories, and right here there is a special set backdrop where you would be able to display 7 cards. But, you know, you would need to specifically trade in rare cards to get these, and or just spend all of your shop tickets up here to actually do an exchange. Now that's not an issue anymore. This is actually something that you can just go ahead and get. No problems there. So just jumping back here really quick to the summer schedule. Again, I just do really recommend going ahead and going through these. Most of these you're going to be getting just by playing the game in your day-to-day. You've got a bunch of hourglasses up here on the track that you can get. And of course, just doing the missions alone will get you some good stuff. So just wanted to let you all know that if there is a time where you've taken a break from the game, might be good to hop back in for just a little bit to try and get those missions completed. But moving on to our next topic, I do want to go over something we do have an extra thing for here, and that is for the trade feature. We did get this, I'd say, about like middle of the week recently. And so the main thing that we were discussing about in the trade feature before and prior to even this announcement was the fact that trade tokens are not it, right? We don't want to see extra currency put into this game when we're already spending all these other currencies and trading things around. It's not necessary. So they did announce a couple months back that they were going to make that change and specifically make it to be Shine Dust, which is very good because you just get Shine Dust from opening packs and getting cards. So this is the projected change that they have coming up. I believe it's July 29th. Yes, that's right. So on July 29th, they will be making this change. It will now be Shine Dust for these cards instead of actually using trade tokens, but trade tokens aren't going to be just disappearing entirely. They're actually going to be things that you, ironically, trade for and basically in exchange. And one of the most interesting things that they have here is that you can actually trade the trade tokens for packs, and the acquired amount is 1. So I think what that means is you just give them 60 trade tokens and you get 60 hourglasses for packs. Now, to me, that seems really generous. I don't know if this is just their way of saying, like, sorry, hey, we know this was kind of a botched launch for the trading, but overall, like, dude, I'll take 60 free packs. I mean, that's basically free, especially if you're doing the stuff right now with this event. Heck, you're going to be getting those pretty easily. Now, the next thing we have here is that the Shine Dust can be traded for the trade tokens, making an equivalent exchange. And that all it is it's basically an unlimited amount of trades trying to get you from your trade tokens to the actual Shine Dust as quick as possible so you don't got to worry about it. I don't know how trade tokens will be treated down the line, if this exchange will always be open. That may be something we find out later, but I would also anticipate that July 29th is probably when we're going to see our next pack update. So I think all of this will come out at once. And note that they do not have anything right here scheduled for the higher rarities. It is still for your 3 diamond cards, your 4 diamond cards, and your 1 star cards. Now, I think all of this looks good. The one thing that is still disappointing, besides the fact that we don't have the higher rarities, is that we still have trade stamina. I have to look from the devs' perspective, though, and say that yes, this makes sense that they still need this feature, because otherwise bots are just going to abuse trading, and we're going to have accounts that are just loading themselves on super rare cards and then probably selling them on eBay or some other website. It's still, again, a little bit annoying, but I can jive with it. I understand it. But moving on to what is the main subject of this video, basically, is me wanting to go over my current thoughts on Pokemon TCG Pocket. So this game has been out for more than 6 months now, and it's seen a lot of success. At least I'd like to think so. It's got a ton of downloads, and as a property for Pokemon, I mean, it's not like it was going to do too terribly bad, especially like compared to some of the other things that they have that are just quality of life, like Pokemon Sleep and Pokemon brushing your teeth. I don't even know what that app is called, but you know what I mean. Anything that's Pokemon is probably going to do well. And just going over like a generalized list of some of the things that I have that I wrote down, in terms of what I am very happy about is that I'm glad that we are seeing very unique card archetypes kind of coming out into the game. Now, for example, the Sweets Relay cards, that's an archetype that you would expect to see in the TCG paper play, but now we have it here in the actual Pokemon TCG Pocket card game, and it's good. I mean, it's not going to break the meta or anything, but I don't think they want that either. But for example, I mean, I expect to see a bunch of discard cards coming out eventually. I expect to see maybe even trainer-related cards coming out. Whatever we get, I think people in Ranked will be just nice to see a little bit of variety. And in general for the game, I do think that these updates that we're getting so far is in benefit of the player base. For example, the trading that we just discussed earlier, they're getting rid of the trade tokens because they're trying to simplify the system. They don't want it to be super overcomplicated, especially now that that has its own stamina system, but everything so far in this game has its own stamina system. So that, you know, it is something that at least you can wrap your head around, right? And let's not forget that the ranked seasons were basically a replacement for the original versus challenges that they had, which was getting a bunch of wins in a row and also just winning a bunch in a season. And I don't feel like those are specifically flawed, but they do sort of have this limitation where you only get like a week or two to actually complete these, whereas a season, it lasts for an entire month. So you have a little bit more leeway and agency on how much of that you want to get completed. So ranked seasons just, completely replacing those, I am more than fine with. However, wouldn't be a good discussion video without some complaining, and you know I love to complain. So let me go over a couple of things in Pokemon TCG Pocket that are still kind of pain points and or big things that I don't want to see or should be changed as soon as possible. The first of those is going to be pack points. Now, I know pack points probably aren't the first thing on everybody's mind because they're just kind of in the background. I'm not even sure if anybody out there has really used their pack points who may be watching this video, but let's talk about something really quick that you're going to notice. If we go to Celestial Guardians, you'll see I have 365 pack points, and you would think that, okay, cool, that's nice, but then I go over to Eevee Grove, and you'll see I have 300 pack points. You see where this is going? And then when I go over to Extra Dimensional Crisis here, you'll see I have 340 pack points. None of this carries over to the other packs. Pack points are tied to a specific pack, and so whatever you're opening can only be generated pack points for that pack, which is stupid. It is so unbelievably stupid. It doesn't matter because all these packs cost the same thing. Gonna have your stamina that's going to be building up, or you spend pack hourglasses is an equivalent exchange. Why do we not have a pool of pack points that we can just use on any pack we want? To get to some of these higher rarities, you would literally have to dump in like real life money to get these before a season even ends. Like if I go to this 340 that I have for the things for the shinies down here and the gold card, I would still need more than 1,000 pack points to get any of these cards here. So I don't know. To me, this is just a super unnecessary limitation that they've put on here. Again, I know that their main concern is like preventing people from just being able to generate the pack points, get some rare cards, and then whenever that new trading comes out, just being able to offload all those. But really, if you ask me if they're opening cards anyways in packs, what is stopping them from doing it in just a single pack? Like just going all the way deep into a pack and then doing that. I don't know. Maybe it depends on like the specific rarities. For example, like these gold cards, because they're not super easy to get, it still doesn't really make much sense in my head. I really do think pack points should just be completely consolidated. There shouldn't be separate pools. And I think that that's also an easy fix that they can implement. Now, this next topic of conversation is going to require me to get to my collection, and I have a feeling that some of you may also have the same complaint, but let me just go ahead and show you. Some of you may not have this card in your collection. This is a shiny Mewtwo that was not released in Shining Revelry. How this card was obtained was specifically buying a bundle in the shop that was paired with gold. And this was the only way you can get this card. I do not want to see this happen ever again. Pokemon Company, Game Freak, DeNA, whoever, you know, is going to be listening to this video, please, for the love of God, do not do this. I understand it with accessories. Accessories are something that, you know, people can opt into, and it's not really part of the collecting experience. It is just something to give yourself some personality when you're going to do your battles and or collecting and showing off your collection, yada yada. This in particular is really scummy. Now, some people might say, you know, oh, well, this isn't any different from like the main TCG game because all you do, you know, you'll have the tins and stuff where they would have an exclusive Pokemon, or there would be a deck exclusively where you couldn't get this card in a set, but you could get it here. That for something that is as easy as just logging in and getting packs a day, I would much rather that this card would just be a rarer, shiny card on the level of a gold card than be something that you have to actually pay for, because there's no way for you to get this card otherwise. Maybe down the line they will say, hey, you know what, sorry, we're just going to give you or we're going to give all the players an opportunity to get this card like a year from now. But to me, it's not it. Having to pay for the premium pass already is, I won't say terrible, because I mean, if you've played a collectible card game like this before that has these kind of passes, then I mean, ideally it is annoying that you're going to have to do this, but fact of the matter is the real only thing from the premium pass that you will be getting is this Pikachu promo. Just about everything else is an accessory that, you know, isn't super important, but at the beginning of Event Punch, you do have these special cards that are on the level of promos. Say, for example, like the Moltres EX. I think the most recent one was a Tapu Koko EX. So, I mean, there are these cards that will come out, and yes, you're going to miss out on them, but at least this is something that you're committing your time to because you enjoy the game. But Shiny Mewtwo was just there because it wanted my money, right? I work a 9 to 5, I'm completely fine, you know, it's not going to break the bank or anything, but the fact of the matter is, I do not want to pay money on a month-to-month basis trying to get these cards just to say I have a complete collection, because I'm already missing cards, right, from the promos. But saying that I now missed something just because I didn't want to spend 20 bucks is a little disappointing. So please don't ever do that again. Now, another thing that I can go ahead and go out of my way for to try to get us here to another spot is for trading. You already know what this is. The fact that we cannot trade for higher rated cards. So if I go to friend I have Chrome, who's been on the list for quite a while now, you're gonna see if I scroll down very far as my phone decides to, you know, catch up here, the promos still not available. If I scroll up pretty far through these promos, you're gonna notice basically all of them are unavailable, which is really, really disappointing, because there's a Bulbasaur that I am missing from like the very first wave, and I just, you know, I can't get it because they still haven't allowed promos yet. But for a lot of people, the more annoying thing is not being able to trade the cards that are from these newer sets. So for example, this Lunala card, I cannot trade, even though I would, you know, probably just want to keep it. But say, for example, somebody makes me a good offer that I don't want to refuse for one of my favorite Pokemon. Sure, I don't know, I might let go of this Lunala EX, but guess what? I can't. So it is still just really annoying that we haven't seen this yet. It is just, like, literally, it is a feature that just feels like it's overdue, right? We're more than 6 months into this game. By now, they should have figured out at least some sort of method to make this manageable. Because again, thinking from the perspective of the devs, leaving the floodgate open for all of these super rare cards to just be traded ad nauseum by bots is just going to be a disaster on the economy of the game, because people are going to list accounts on eBay and elsewhere, say, oh, this account has 10 like super rare gold cards or something like that, because all they're doing is just having a bot go in day by day, and then when they're ready to trade, they trade it all over to one account, sell that account. I get it, I understand it. The problem is that we should have this by now. And I think that really the only way that you're going to accomplish this is if you do have some sort of monitoring system to say, hey, it's very obvious that this account is literally, you know, deconstructing everything for Shine Dust, getting all of this stuff for singular gold cards that they can't even make a deck, right? Like their collection is like less than 6 cards or something. I do feel like that is something that's trackable from the team, and that they can kind of knock down on that. It requires manpower, it requires all this other stuff to kind of get in ahead. Yes, I understand that also might be part of the reason why it's taking so long, but we should have it already. We really should. And the last thing is a nitpick that I don't know if other people are going to share with me, but dude, I am kind of getting exhausted with all the sets that are coming out. Like, don't get me wrong, I am glad that there's something that is getting me to come back to open these packs and stuff. We have basically been getting packs monthly ever since the release of the game. I think there was a bit of a larger gap between Genetic Apex and Mythical Island, but besides that, like, we have gotten a ton of packs to open, and you know, for me, it is exciting to see all these new packs come out, because that means more new Pokemon that I like will just be getting cards, and so I can take a look at them, collect them, all that kind of stuff. Again, for me, collecting is the big thing before battling, but it's starting to become very, very difficult to keep up with that. Not saying that it is absolutely impossible, right? Because you just log in day by day. For most of the sets, I am not missing more than about like 2 or 3 cards. There are some that I probably am missing like closer to 10, especially for the larger ones and not like the subsets or the themed booster packs. But it is just a lot. And I do feel like eventually it is going to get to a point where, especially when a new player joins, I kind of wonder if they're going to feel overwhelmed. Like, say, when it gets to around November, the game will be out for a year pretty much at that point. How are you going to decide what pack to open? Like, there's a bunch of sets here, especially with the evolutions in particular. Like, Eevee Grove is the evolution set, so that's what you can target, but there are other sets that have, like, Leafeon EX, and all of these other EX Pokemon, especially, like, even the Vaporeon that's, like, used for a ton of water decks, especially early in the game. You're just not going to be able to get that unless you just go into a completely different pack, which is also, again, a thing I think that pack points would partially solve at the very least. But regardless, yeah, the packs have been coming really, really fast, and it really is like a blessing and a curse, right? Because you get to get a whole lot of new stuff, but at the same time, it feels like you have no time to catch up to it. Even if you're playing ranked, and for me, again, I have not been super invested in the actual battling system of the game. I still think it's fun to battle, but that hasn't been my main priority. It is probably unimaginable for people who have to go into a set and get the brand new cards that are currently meta, and then have to immediately switch on over to something else entirely. Like, that doesn't seem healthy for the game. But I do think something like having a 2-month break between packs is probably going to do the game much better. I guess what they want to do is that have a large set release and then transition into a themed booster pack, because it seems like that's what they've been doing for the most part. And in this instance, what they did is they did happen to go from Celestial Guardians to Extra Dimensional Crisis to Eevee Grove. So they went from one larger core set into 2 smaller sets, where you're able to get, hopefully, this is the stuff you want before you're actually going on to the next thing. It really depends on how they're going to do it from here on out. I mean, there are probably several ways you can go about it. Just make the theme booster packs maybe have a little bit less for you to collect, so that way, once you're done about 15-20 days in, you've probably got most of what you need, even if you have to trade a little bit. Just go back to the primary booster packs that have like over 100 cards for you to collect, so that way you can go ahead and get that stuff. I may be the only person who feels that way, but it is something where I would much rather them kind of take a step back and see if they can kind of manage the card release schedule a little bit more, because especially after like 3 years, how many packs are we going to be looking like if we just keep on this process? It's going to be literally insane. So, but regardless, that is all my yapping for this video. I do very much appreciate you sticking around and watching it. If you did enjoy this, please let me know down in the comments, especially if you do agree with anything, and if you have any gripes personally you want to mention, let me know, and then leave a like if you did enjoy this kind of discussion video. But regardless, thank you guys so very much for watching. Hopefully you're having a fantastic night or day wherever you may be. I hope to see you next time. See ya!